We're here to give my first impressions on the Xero Ipari Prio. Now let's put the pronunciation down to my exotic English accent and let's get it rolling. Welcome back guys, Kalclash Fitness. For anyone that's new to the channel, we're a barefoot running show focusing on running tips, predominantly barefoot running, minimalist style running. Now I've reviewed many different shoes in my time, run thousands upon thousands upon thousands of barefoot minimalist running, and I've never run in a pair of Xeros, so I've been very eager to get my hands on a pair, and today we're going to do my first impressions. So the first thing, there's a couple of things first and foremost that strike me about this shoe that I found surprising. The first one, just that without putting the shoe on, before putting the shoe on, the sole is thicker than I would normally expect from a barefoot minimalist running shoe. A vibrant 5-finger, whatever model you want to talk about there, or a Merrell Vapor glove is going to be roughly half the thickness of the sole of this shoe. So thickness wise of the sole is rather thick in comparison to what you'd normally expect from a minimalist running shoe. Weight. So weight wise, again, when you hold this shoe, it's evidently heavier than a normal minimalist running shoe as well. So these come in at about 256 grams, I think it is, something like that, 215 grams for a size 9. This is a size, where are we? 14 or 13.5 UK, size 14 US. So slightly heavier. So essentially what this means is that it's about double the weight of a vibrant 5-finger. So 2 vibrant 5-fingers is going to make one of these shoes. Again, it's a minimalist shoe, so 215 grams there or thereabouts isn't going to break the bank, so to speak. So it's not a heavy shoe by any means, but it is heavier than your normal barefoot minimalist style running shoe. Now the design of the shoe itself is pretty cool actually. So the way it's been built essentially is to mimic the human foot. So what I like about this shoe is it grips nice and tightly around the heel. Around the heel area is nice and tight and it's well padded. Essentially the rear half of the shoe, you will not know that you're wearing this. I'll talk about sizing a little later, but essentially I've got a size up and it's completely snug in the rear half of the shoe, which is a really comfortable fit. And then they've designed the shoe in order to mimic that barefoot running experience. So the toe box, the toe box is a lot wider than your average shoe, which means you have, in theory, and we'll talk about this, but you have room for your toes to splay out upon foot strike. The design of the shoe, designed to mimic the human foot, and you know, it works. It does do that job. What all you guys want to know is, what does it feel like when running? It feels pretty good actually. So weight wise and thickness wise, I know I spoke about that as a concern, but when you actually get out and about, you obviously do feel it. You have less ground perception than you would have in a vibrant 5-finger. So a vibrant 5-finger is incredibly flexible and there's not a great deal of padding or thickness in between your foot and the ground beneath you. This, there's more thickness, more padding. It's got an insole that's removable, so for the full review I'll probably remove that. But essentially, yeah, less ground perception. But I would say, if you wanted to know what this feels like, it feels like running barefoot on a running track. So a running track has a very slight sort of springiness to it. And I would say running in this feels very much like running on a running track, barefoot. So the reason I say that is the ground perception, there's not a great deal that you'll feel underneath that, just like a running track, but you're having the full ability for your toes to splay out. So when you land, it does feel like as if you're landing on that running track surface, your toes are splaying out, and it does almost feel like you're running barefoot. Now for me, my toes do eventually hit the side, but it's not in any way sort of holding me back from that experience. And after a while, you just forget really that you're wearing these shoes altogether. They feel good. They do feel really good. I would compare them most likely to what was it, New Balance Minimalist shoe, which was a shoe I really loved before. It had a thicker sole, obviously zero drop, and it was a Vibram sole. Now these are incredibly similar to that. I'd need to look up the stats maybe for the full review, but I would guess that the sole thickness is basically the same as what the New Balance Minimalist was, which was a phenomenal shoe. The difference between this and the New Balance Minimalist is the New Balance Minimalist had a very narrow toe box, so it didn't simulate the barefoot running experience. It was a minimal running shoe, but it wasn't a barefoot running shoe because it didn't allow your foot to behave like a foot, essentially. This is better from that respect. It allows your toe to fully splay out. The New Balance Minimalist, as a result of that restrictiveness, was slightly faster, but like I say, without being able to allow your foot to splay out and simulate that true barefoot running experience, then you're going to be more prone to injuries because you're not running as nature intended for you to run. Now the last thing to note, and we touched on this earlier before we wrap this video up, is the sizing. So in order to get the sizing right, I was recommended that I pick one size up from my usual size. So I'm actually normally a UK size 12, and I got a UK size 13.5, which is a 14 in USA size, or a 49 in European size. Why can't we all just have the one same size, eh? But yeah, so one size up from your normal. This is actually a size and a half up from a normal. As I said, it fits really well, fits snugly around the rear, fits snugly around the ankle, nicely padded around the ankle, and gives my forefoot plenty of room to move in the toe box. So overall, fit wise, absolutely fantastic, but I do think that you need to go a size up in order to get that full movement and full experience in there. If I'd have gone for my normal size, then I think I'd have been more restricted within the shoe itself. So that are my first impressions of the Xero Ipari Prio. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that almost right, or right, but like I say, it's my exotic English accent, so what can I do about that? Guys, if you liked this video, please hit me a like. If you've tried these shoes out, in the comments down below, let me know, let the community know what you thought about these shoes and any other shoes that you want to see upcoming on this channel. I can't see any sheep in here today. There's no sheep in the steep Kalclash shed. I'm not a sheep, you're not a sheep. You guys know what to do by now. Keep it rolling.